Hey guys, so make sure you like, comment and subscribe. So my name is Faith, aka AbstractMedic, and today we're going to go through a high yield exam question that you'll typically see in the UKMLA, AKT exam, basically the final exam that you sit in medical school now that they've implemented. The aim of my channel is basically to help medical students, nursing students, PA students to do well in the exams, pass exams comfortably and successfully in a way where it's healthy and you won't have to do like all-nighters and just a bunch of things that will stress your body in order to just pass the exam. So yeah, I'm just trying to come up with tips and tricks. And also I have other things that I'll put on my channel just for fun. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Okay, so let's start. We're going to be going through glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. We'll go through a question on that. In glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, what would you typically find on a peripheral blood smear? A, hypersegmented neutrophils. B, teardrop cells. C, Haematology bodies, or D, Heinz bodies. So you can pause the video, think about the answer, and then start it again, and then we'll go through the answer. So the answer is D, Heinz bodies. So first of all, what are Heinz bodies? Heinz bodies are typically associated with glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency because in the pathophysiology of this condition, what happens is there's oxidative stress when certain things are introduced into the body, whether that's medications such as antimalarials like chloroquine, whether that's medications like trimethoprim or sulfur-based medications, or whether it's soya beans or fava beans, which is a common one that comes up in exams, that induces oxidative stress onto the body. And in glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, there's an issue with properly clearing this oxidative stress in the simplest terms possible without going into detail into the pathophysiology. So ultimately what happens is that the hemoglobin within the red blood cells precipitates and it causes the formation of inclusion bodies within the red blood cell. And on a peripheral blood smear, this damaged hemoglobin that's precipitated comes up as what we call a Heinz body. And another thing that you can get within glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is bite cells, which follows on from Heinz bodies. So basically, there's macrophages within the spleen. They recognize these red blood cells that have Heinz bodies within them, which is the damaged hemoglobin. And in order to clear them, they literally take a bite out of the Heinz bodies, and that's what causes the formation of a bite cell. So it's literally called a bite cell. But let's go through the other options now. Okay, so A, hypersegmented neutrophils. Where would you find that? That's typically found in a megaloblastic anemia, which is vitamin B12 deficiency or folate deficiency. So that's where you'd see that. B was teardrop cells. Teardrop cells, the way I try and remember it is by, okay, if there's damage to the bone marrow, for example, in myelofibrosis, where there's lots of scarring, where the blood cell is trying to be pushed out of the bone marrow, it forms a teardrop shape. And that's typically where you get it. You can get the teardrop cells in other scenarios too. Okay, let's go through C, which was Haematology bodies. Haematology bodies are basophilic inclusions that you can see on a blood smear. And typically they're associated with a recent splenectomy. So you can see them in sickle cell anemia. If someone has an autosplenectomy, you can see them in thalassemia. So essentially when you see Haematology bodies, just think the spleen, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And make sure you like, comment and subscribe. If you want me to go through more of these kind of questions and make more of these videos, then please let me know. But yeah, so take care guys, bye.